She kissed a stranger to avoid her ex, not knowing he was a billionaire who would fall in love with her. A 29-year-old immigration lawyer walks into an upscale Manhattan charity gala on a freezing February evening in 2024, wearing a borrowed dress and counting the minutes until she can leave, when she spots him across the room, her ex-fiancé, who shattered her heart 18 months ago, now with his new girlfriend, the woman he cheated with, clinging to his arm. Panic floods her system, because he's walking directly toward her with that smug smile that says he wants to gloat about how happy he is, how he dodged a bullet by leaving her. She has exactly 10 seconds to avoid the most humiliating conversation of her life. So she does the only thing she can think of, grabs the nearest stranger by his perfectly tailored tuxedo lapels, pulls him down, he's tall, easily 6'3", and kisses him like her dignity depends on it, which it does. The kiss lasts exactly 8 seconds. Long. Enough for her ex to freeze mid-stride, his face turning an impressive shade of purple. Long enough for the entire ballroom to notice. And definitely long enough for the stranger, who has slate-gray eyes, dark hair, with just enough silver at the temples to be devastating, and the kind of bone structure that suggests either excellent genetics or a very expensive surgeon, to kiss her back with an enthusiasm that makes her forget why she started this in the first place. When they break apart, both breathing harder than a simple kiss warrants, the stranger smiles, slow, amused and absolutely lethal to her composure, and says in a voice like whiskey and dark chocolate, "I'm Julian, and I'm going to need you to explain what that was about." She opens her mouth to apologize, to explain about the ex, to escape before this gets more mortifying. But her ex is still standing there gaping, and the stranger, Julian, is looking at her with an intensity that makes her skin feel too tight, and somewhere, in the rational part of her brain that hasn't been short-circuited by panic and pheromones, she realizes she's just kissed Julian Ashford. Billionaire real estate developer. Forbes 400. The man whose arm is now sliding around her waist with casual possession as he turns to face her ex and says, "Is there a problem here?" This story has a desperate kiss that becomes something neither of them planned. A billionaire who's been told he's too cold to ever really fall in love, proving everyone spectacularly wrong. An immigration lawyer who fights for families while believing she'll never have one of her own. An ex-fiancé who realizes far too late what he lost. A fake relationship that becomes real so slowly neither notices until they're already in too deep. Julian's difficult sister, who doesn't think Sophia's appropriate for the family. Sophia's protective brothers who threaten bodily harm if Julian hurts her. The moment when Derek tries to win Sophia back, and Julian has to prove. He's not just playing at this relationship, a job offer in DC that forces them both to decide what they're willing to sacrifice for love. And an ending that proves sometimes the best relationships start with terrible decisions made for the right reasons in moments of pure panic. What happens when a kiss meant to save face becomes the beginning of everything you never knew you needed? Subscribe now, because this is the story that proves the most extraordinary love stories start with split-second decisions, borrowed dresses, and the courage to kiss a stranger to avoid your past, only to discover he might be your future. Don't miss how one 8-second kiss, one billionaire who sees past the panic to the woman underneath, and one immigration lawyer who learns that letting someone in doesn't mean losing yourself becomes a love story that changes both their lives forever. Sophia Martinez had exactly 3 reasons for attending the Winter Gala for immigration rights, and 0 reasons to run into Derek fucking Harrison. But the universe clearly had other plans. She stood near the bar in a borrowed Marchesa dress, courtesy of her best friend Priya, who refused to let her show up to a Manhattan gala in Off the Rack, nursing her second glass of champagne and trying to look like she belonged among New York's elite, while mentally counting down the minutes until she could claim an early asylum hearing and escape. The gala was beautiful. Plaza Hotel ballroom, crystal chandeliers, orchestra playing Cole Porter. The kind of event where tickets cost $1,500 per person and the silent auction featured a week in Tuscany. Sophia's firm had bought a table to show their commitment to social justice, which really meant her boss wanted to network with the wealthy donors who might someday need immigration lawyers for their staff. Sophia was here to represent the firm, eat the excellent food, and maybe connect with Maria Rodriguez, the legendary immigration attorney whose nonprofit was benefiting from tonight's fundraiser. She was not here to see Derek Harrison, her ex-fiancé, standing 20 feet away with Madison Cooper draped on his arm like an expensive accessory. "Oh no," Priya breathed beside her, following Sophia's gaze. "Is that—" "Yep." Sophia downed the rest of her champagne in one gulp. Derek and Madison, together, looking coupley at a charity gala. What is he even doing here? Since when does Derek care about immigration rights? Since Madison's father is on the board of this organization. Sophia grabbed another champagne flute from a passing waiter. Since he's trying to impress her family. Since he's doing all the things he never did with me. 18 months. 18 months since Sophia had walked into Derek's apartment, the one they were supposed to move into together after the wedding, and found him in bed with Madison. 18 months since he'd stammered excuses about not being ready for marriage, about Sophia being too focused on work, about needing someone who understood his ambitions. Never mind that Sophia worked 60-hour weeks as an immigration lawyer, making a third of Derek's corporate finance salary. Never mind that she'd supported him through 3 job changes and a career crisis while planning their entire wedding solo. Madison had understood his ambitions, right into Sophia's relationship, and apparently into a permanent position in his life. "We can leave right now," Priya said firmly. "Fake a migraine. Food poisoning, spontaneous combustion, your choice." "No." Sophia straightened her spine, grateful for 4-inch heels that at least made her feel taller and more intimidating. "I'm not running. I work with asylum seekers who've fled war zones. I can handle seeing my ex-fiancé with the woman he cheated with at a party." "That's very healthy and well-adjusted of you." "I didn't say I'd be healthy about it. I said I'd handle it." The plan was simple. Avoid Derek and Madison, network with immigration lawyers, eat her body weight in canapes, and leave early claiming that 8 a.m. asylum hearing, which was real. Sophia had a Honduran mother of 2, whose case she'd been fighting for 8 months. The plan lasted 47 minutes. Sophia was deep in conversation with Maria Rodriguez herself, discussing recent circuit court decisions on credible fear determinations, when she saw Derek heading directly toward her through the crowd. He had that look, that insufferable, let's be mature, adults about this look, that meant he wanted to show everyone how evolved he was by being friendly with his ex. Probably while Madison stood there looking sympathetic and beautiful, and like she hadn't destroyed Sophia's life. Maria was mid-sentence about an upcoming case, and Sophia couldn't just flee mid-conversation with the most important immigration attorney in New York. So her brain, running on champagne and panic and 18 months of suppressed rage, did something spectacularly stupid. She grabbed the nearest man, standing alone near the wall, looking vaguely bored with a tumbler of what appeared to be very expensive whiskey, and kissed him. Just reached out, grabbed his perfectly tailored tuxedo lapels, her brain registered expensive fabric, definitely custom, pulled him down, he was tall, she had to go on her toes despite 4-inch heels, and pressed her mouth to his. For exactly half a second, the man went rigid with surprise. Then he kissed her back. Oh God, he kissed her. Back. His hand came up to cup the back of her head, gentle but firm, possessive without being aggressive, angling her face for better access. His other arm slid around her waist, pulling her closer against him. And he kissed her like he meant it. Like this wasn't some random woman accosting him at a charity gala. Like they'd done this 1,000 times, and he'd been waiting to do it again. The kiss probably lasted 8 seconds, maybe 10. But Sophia felt it everywhere. The heat pooling low in her stomach, her heart rate spiking for reasons that had nothing to do with panic, and everything to do with the way this stranger's lips moved against hers with perfect pressure. The way he tasted like whiskey and something darker. The way his hand in her hair was possessive enough to make her knees weak. When they broke apart, both breathing harder than warranted, he smiled, slow, amused, devastating. "I'm Julian," he said, voice low and rough in a way that made Sophia's skin feel too tight. "And I'm going to need you to explain what that was about, because I haven't been kissed like that since... Actually, I don't think I've ever been kissed like that." Sophia opened her mouth to apologize, to explain, to spontaneously combust from embarrassment. But then she caught Derek's expression over Julian's shoulder. Her ex had stopped dead 15 feet away, mouth literally hanging open. Madison beside him looked equally shocked. The ballroom, or at least the immediate area, had gone noticeably quiet. People were staring. Oh God, she'd just made a massive scene, assaulted a stranger. She was going to get arrested, lose her bar license, die of humiliation. "Is there a problem here?" Julian asked, his voice still low but with an edge now. His arm tightened around Sophia's waist. When had he put his arm around her waist? As he turned to face Derek with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Derek seemed to recover himself. "Sophia, I didn't realize you were seeing someone." "Why would you realize that?" The words came out sharper than intended, but Sophia was running on pure adrenaline. "We haven't spoken in 18 months. I just thought, Madison mentioned seeing you last month at that coffee shop on 42nd, and you were alone, so we assumed..." "You assumed wrong." Julian's voice was urbane, smooth, but Sophia could feel tension in the arm around her waist. "And you are?" "Derek Harrison. I'm Sophia's... We used to be ex-fiancé," Sophia supplied, finding her voice. "Derek is my ex-fiancé. The one who cheated on me 6 weeks before our wedding, with his current girlfriend standing right there trying to pretend she doesn't remember working with me for 2 years. Madison flushed crimson. Derek looked like the floor should swallow him. "I see." Julian's voice had gone ice cold. "Well, Derek, it was lovely not meeting you. Sophia and I were just about to dance. Weren't we, darling?" Darling. He'd called her darling. Sophia knew she should correct him. Explain this was all a massive misunderstanding, apologize to everyone and escape. Instead, she heard herself say, "Yes, we were." Julian guided her toward the dance floor with a hand on the small of her back, leaving Derek and Madison standing there looking stunned while at least 30 people watched with avid interest. The orchestra was playing something slow and jazzy. Julian pulled Sophia into a proper dance hold with the ease of someone who'd taken actual ballroom lessons. And suddenly, they were swaying together, and Sophia's brain was trying desperately to catch up with the last 3 minutes. "Okay," Julian said quietly, his mouth close to her ear because of the height difference. "Now that we've successfully horrified your ex and given the gossip columnists enough material for a week, want to tell me what that kiss was actually about?" Sophia looked up at him, really looked for the first time past the initial panic. He was older than her, probably late 30s, handsome in that effortless way that came from excellent genes and better grooming. The tuxedo was definitely custom. She could see the perfect way it draped across his shoulders. Dark hair with distinguished silver at the temples. Slate-gray eyes that were currently looking at her with genuine curiosity, not anger. "I'm so sorry," Sophia said in a rush. "That was completely inappropriate and probably legally actionable, and I have no excuse except I saw my ex heading toward me, and I panicked, and you were there, and I didn't think. Which is terrible, and I'm genuinely, truly sorry." "Are you sorry about the kiss itself, or sorry you kissed a stranger without permission?" "Both? Neither? I don't know." Sophia was acutely aware of how close they were, of his hand warm against her back, through the thin fabric of her dress. "I'm sorry I grabbed you without asking." The kiss itself was technically proficient. Julian's laugh was surprised and genuine. Technically proficient. That's the most lawyer thing anyone's ever said about kissing me. I'm an immigration lawyer. Everything I say is lawyer speak. She paused. You're being incredibly nice about this. Most people would be furious. Most people don't get kissed by beautiful women at charity galas. I'm choosing to see it as the highlight of an otherwise tedious evening. His eyes were warm now, amused. Though I have to say, if you wanted to make your ex jealous, you picked an excellent target. The look on his face was priceless. I wasn't trying to make him jealous. I was trying to avoid talking to him. Mission accomplished. He looks like he's been hit by a truck. Julian spun her slightly, and Sophia caught a glimpse of Derek and Madison retreating toward the exit. There they go, crisis averted. Until everyone here tells everyone they know that Sofia Martinez made out with a random stranger at the Immigration Rights Gala. About that. Julian's expression turned slightly wry. I'm not exactly random. People here know who I am, which means by tomorrow morning the gossip sites will be speculating about why Julian Ashford was kissing an immigration lawyer at a charity gala. Sophia's brain, operating at maybe 40% capacity due to champagne and adrenaline and the lingering effects of that kiss, suddenly connected the dots. Julian Ashford, Ashford Development Corporation, the man who just donated $10 million to tonight's cause, the billionaire whose buildings dotted Manhattan's skyline. Oh my God, Sophia actually stopped dancing. You're Julian Ashford. I am. The Julian Ashford, billionaire real estate developer, Forbes 400, the one who just donated $10 million, yes. He was still smiling, unbothered by her mini meltdown. Though I prefer to think of myself as the Julian Ashford who just got spontaneously kissed by a woman avoiding her ex, because that's a much better story. Sophia tried to pull away, suddenly overwhelmed by the realization she'd just kissed a billionaire, a famous billionaire, someone who could probably sue her or have her arrested or… Hey! Julian caught her hand before she could fully retreat. Breathe. You look like you're about to pass out. I kissed a billionaire, Sophia said faintly. You did. I kissed you back. Technically, we're even. You kissed me back because I grabbed you and gave you no choice. Sophia. Julian waited until she met his eyes. I'm 6'3" and have a black belt in Krav Maga. If I didn't want to be kissed, you wouldn't have been able to kiss me. I kissed you back because I wanted to, because you looked desperate, your ex looked like an asshole, and I've never been one to pass up an opportunity to help someone while also enjoying myself. You enjoyed yourself? Immensely. Best kiss I've had in years. His thumb was doing something distracting against her palm. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to finish this dance. Then I'm getting us fresh drinks, and you're going to explain why Derek Harrison is your ex-fiancé, because anyone who would cheat on someone who kisses like you is clearly an idiot of the highest order. Sophia should have said no. Should have apologized again, found Priya, gone home to die of embarrassment in private. Instead, she heard herself say, Okay, one drink, one explanation. Then I'm leaving and we can both forget this happened. Julian's smile was slow and absolutely devastating. I don't think I'm going to forget this. But yes, one drink. They finished the dance, Sophia hyper-aware of every point of contact, of people watching with interest, of Derek having indeed fled with Madison. Julian got them fresh champagne, and they found a quiet corner near the windows overlooking Central Park South. So, Julian said, handing her a glass, Derek Harrison, tell me about the idiot who let you go. And somehow, the champagne, the adrenaline crash, the way Julian was looking at her like she was actually interesting, Sophia found herself, telling him everything. About meeting Derek 5 years ago. The whirlwind romance, proposal after a year, excitement of wedding planning. About slowly realizing Derek wanted a wife who'd support his career, host his dinners, look good at events. Maybe work part-time at a nice non-profit and focus on future children. About the fights when Sophia made partner at 27, youngest in her firm's history, because it meant longer hours, less availability to be the perfect fiancé. About walking in on him and Madison. The humiliation of canceling a wedding. Derek somehow making himself the victim because Sophia had been emotionally absent and too ambitious. He told people I cared more about my career than our relationship, Sophia said, staring into her champagne. That I wasn't ready to be a wife. That he needed someone who would prioritize him. And by prioritize him, he meant give up your own ambitions to support his, Julian said flatly. Essentially, yes. Like I said, idiot of the highest order. Julian set down his glass. For what it's worth, I looked you up while you were talking to Maria Rodriguez earlier. Sophia's head snapped up. You did what? Looked you up. You were having an intense conversation about circuit court decisions, and I was curious. He smiled slightly. Sophia Martinez, youngest partner at Chen & Associates, specializing in asylum cases. 17 wins last year in cases considered unwinnable. Quoted in the Times, Washington Post, NPR about family separation. Testified before Congress about immigration reform. His expression was warm, admiring. You're kind of a big deal. You researched all that in 47 minutes? I'm efficient, and I was interested in the woman who was helping me avoid the tedious developer trying to pitch me on a luxury condo project in Tribeca. You were avoiding someone too? Absolutely. Hence the antisocial lurking near the wall. He tilted his head, studying her. Though I'm very glad I came now. Otherwise, I would have missed being spontaneously kissed by one of New York's most respected immigration lawyers. You're never going to let me live that down. Absolutely not. This is the most interesting thing that's happened to me in months. They talked for another hour. About their work, Sophia's current asylum cases, Julian's new sustainable housing development in Queens, about his family, dead parents, complicated relationship with 2 younger siblings, vast amounts of money that made every relationship suspect. About Sophia's family, parents still in love after 35 years, 2 younger brothers, Sunday dinners in Queens where her mother fed everyone too much and asked intrusive questions. She's going to love this story, Sophia said ruefully. The time I kissed a billionaire to avoid my ex. Are you going to tell her it was fake? Julian asked. As opposed to what? I mean. Julian set down his empty glass, his gray eyes intent on hers. It doesn't have to be fake. Sophia's heart did something complicated. What? The kiss. Us. This conversation we're having. He leaned forward slightly. I like you, Sophia. You're brilliant, passionate about your work, funny. You kiss like you mean it. And I haven't enjoyed talking to someone this much in a very long time. Julian. Let me finish. Your ex is clearly an idiot who's going to spend his life regretting what he lost. And based on how he looked at you tonight, he's already starting to regret it. So, here's what I'm proposing. We date. For real. Actually date and see where it goes. You want to date me because I accidentally kissed you? I want to date you because in the hour since you accidentally kissed me, I've learned you're brilliant, driven, hilarious, and kiss better than anyone I've met. The unconventional beginning is just a bonus. Sophia's brain was screaming warnings. Too fast, too much, too crazy. He was a billionaire. She made $180,000 a year and could barely afford her studio in Astoria. They lived in different worlds. But her heart, the one that had been locked down since Derek, was whispering something different. One date, she heard herself say. One real date. If it's awful, we both walk away. Julian's smile was devastating. It won't be awful. You sound very confident. I am confident. I've spent an hour talking to you and I already know. This is going to be something. He was right. It was going to be something extraordinary. Julian Ashford had been on many first dates, but sitting across from Sophia Martinez at a small Italian restaurant in the West Village 4 days after the gala, he realized he'd never been on a real first date before. "I can't believe you chose Valentine's Day," Sophia said, looking at the rose petals on their table with amusement. "The most cliché day of the year." "I thought about waiting," Julian admitted. "But then I thought, why wait? Besides, I had to pull significant strings to get a reservation here on short notice. Seemed wasteful not to use it. Very billionaire of you. Would you have preferred McDonald's? I do love their French fries." Note to self, Sophia's weakness is fast food. Julian studied her across the candlelight. Simple black dress, dark hair loose, minimal makeup. She looked beautiful and natural, and completely out of place among the other couples clearly trying too hard to impress each other. She fit here but didn't belong here. Somehow that made him want her more. "Tell me about your asylum hearing," he said. "The one you had at 8 a.m. after staying out until midnight at the gala." Sophia's face lit up, the way it did whenever she talked about her work. "How did you know about that?" "You mentioned it. I remember everything you say." He saw her expression shift, something vulnerable flickering across her face. "The hearing?" "We won. My client is a woman from Honduras who fled domestic violence, walked 3 months to the border with her 2 kids. CBP separated her from her children for 4 months before we could reunite them. Yesterday, the judge granted asylum." "That's incredible." "It is. She cried for 20 minutes. Her kids cried. I cried." Sophia laughed self-consciously. "I always cry when we win. My colleagues tease me for it. Don't apologize for caring." The intensity in Julian's voice surprised even him. "Too many people in my world have perfected not caring. It's refreshing to meet someone who gives a damn." Sophia looked at him curiously. "Do you not care about your work?" "I care about doing it well, building things that last. But do I care the way you care about reuniting mothers with their children?" He paused. "I used to, maybe, when I first started. But after enough buildings, enough money, enough board meetings arguing about marble versus granite, you lose the thread of why you're doing it. So why do you keep doing it?" Julian had been asked this before, by therapists, siblings, ex-girlfriends. He usually gave polished answers about legacy and excellence. But looking at Sophia, he told the truth. "Because I don't know who I am if I'm not Julian Ashford, CEO of Ashford Development. I've been building this company since I was 22. It's all I know." He took a drink. "And because my father spent his life building it, and when he died, I promised I'd make it bigger, better than he ever imagined." "How old were you when he died?" 28. Car accident. My mother died 2 years later from cancer." Julian loosened his grip on the wine glass. "I've been running the company 12 years, tripled revenue, expanded into 8 markets, made Forbes 400. My father would be proud." "Would he?" Sophia asked gently. "Or would he want you to be happy?" No one had ever asked him that. "I don't know," Julian admitted. "I don't remember him talking about happiness, just about building something that lasts." They talked through dinner, pasta for Sophia, risotto for Julian, and it felt easy in a way Julian's dates never did. No performance, no pretense, just genuine conversation. "Can I ask something potentially invasive?" Sophia said eventually. "After you kissed me without permission, I think we're past worrying about invasive." She laughed. "Why aren't you married?" "You're 40 next month. Successful, attractive. Statistically, you should have been married and divorced by now." "I date. I've had relationships. Nothing lasting more than a year." Julian considered honesty. "Most women who date me are dating the idea of me. The money, the lifestyle, the photo ops. When they realize I'm boring, 60-hour work weeks, no interest in partying, prefer reading about architecture to clubbing, they lose interest. You're not boring. You've known me 4 days. I've spent 4 days thinking about you almost constantly. That's enough data to know you're not boring. Sophia paused. Maybe you've been dating boring people. Possibly. My last girlfriend told me I was emotionally unavailable and, incapable of real intimacy. That I treated relationships like business transactions. Were you? Julian thought about Christina, model, actress, influencer, beautiful, charming, completely incompatible. Yeah, he admitted. I was. Because I didn't actually like her much. But she looked good at events and didn't require emotional labor, so I kept dating her anyway. How long? 14 months. Pathetic when I say it out loud. I dated Derek 4 years and got engaged, despite knowing he didn't actually like who I was. So no judgment. Sophia set down her fork. The day I found him with Madison, he said I'd changed, that I wasn't the woman he fell in love with. Good. You should change. Julian didn't try to hide the intensity. You should grow, become more of who you are. Anyone who wants you static doesn't actually love you. Sophia's eyes were bright. Thank you for saying that. I mean it. He reached across the table, covered her hand. Sophia, I've known you 4 days. Don't know your favorite color or what you do Sunday mornings. But I know you're passionate, brilliant, willing to kiss strangers to avoid awkward situations. And I want to know everything else, every detail, every version of yourself you've become and will become. That's really intense for a first date. Is it too much? She turned her hand over, laced her fingers through his. No, it's exactly right. They ordered tiramisu to share and talked until the restaurant dimmed the lights as a hint. Julian paid, over Sophia's protests, and they walked into February cold, breath-making clouds. I should get a cab, Sophia said, not moving to hail one. I have a car. I'll drive you home. Queens is far from the Upper East Side. I don't mind. I'm not ready to say goodnight. He smiled. Is that okay? Sophia looked up at him, and Julian saw his own feelings reflected back. Yes, she said softly. Take me home. In the car, they sat close in the back seat, Sophia's hand in Julian's. Thank you, she said as they crossed the Queensboro Bridge, for tonight, for being whatever this is. This is me very seriously pursuing you, in case that wasn't clear. It was pretty clear. The Valentine's reservation, the hand-holding, the speech about wanting to know every version of me. Too much? No, she squeezed his hand. Terrifying, but perfect. At her building in Astoria, Julian walked her to the door despite protests. I want to, he said simply. At her door, Sophia turned to face him. I had a really good time, she said. Me too. And I really want to kiss you again. But I don't want you to think I just go around kissing people. Julian laughed. Sophia, you have blanket permission to kiss me whenever you want. Is that how consent works? Standing consent. Either party can revoke any time. Very lawyerly. Learning from the best. Sophia went up on her toes and kissed him. This kiss was different from the gala. Slower, deeper, more intentional. No panic. Just genuine desire. Julian's hands cupped her face, and he kissed her back with everything he'd been feeling all evening. The want, the fascination, the growing certainty that Sophia Martinez was going to change his life. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Sophia's eyes were dark. Come upstairs, she said. Every instinct screamed yes, but something made Julian pause. I want to. God, I want to. But Sophia, I don't want this to be just physical. I don't want you to think this is some billionaire playing at dating a real person. Is that what you think this is? No, but I want you to know that too. That this is real for me. Not a game. Real. Sophia studied his face, then smiled. Rain check. Absolutely. Second date? When? Tomorrow? I have a meeting until 7, but after that I'm free. I have a hearing that might run late, but yes. Text me when you're done. One more kiss, quick, sweet, and Sophia disappeared into her building. Julian walked back to his car with the strangest feeling in his chest. Hope. He'd forgotten what that felt like. Over the next 3 months, Julian and Sophia fell into a rhythm. Dinner dates when Sophia's court schedule allowed. Weekend brunches at small places in Queens where Julian could wear jeans and not be recognized. Late-night phone calls when Sophia was prepping for hearings and needed to talk through legal arguments with someone who'd listen. Julian met Sophia's family in March. Sunday dinner in Queens with her parents, Rosa and Carlos, her brothers Miguel, a pediatrician, and David, a high school teacher. So you're the billionaire our sister kissed to avoid her ex, Miguel said, shaking Julian's hand with perhaps more force than necessary. Miguel, Rosa swatted her son. Be nice. Julian is a guest. I'm just saying, if he hurts her, billionaire or not, we know people. You're a pediatrician, Sophia said. What people do you know? Intimidating people. Very intimidating. But by the end of dinner, after Julian had answered questions about his work, complimented Rosa's cooking, and genuinely engaged with David about education funding, even Miguel seemed to warm to him. He's better than Derek, Miguel told Sophia while helping clear dishes. Derek was a pretentious ass. This one seems decent. High praise, Sophia said dryly. I mean it. He looks at you like you're the most interesting person in the room. Derek never did that. Sophia met Julian's family in April, and it went significantly worse. His younger sister Caroline, 35, Yale Law, currently working as general counsel for Ashford Development, made her disapproval clear from the start. An immigration lawyer, Caroline said over drinks at Julian's penthouse. How public interest of you. I like helping people, Sophia said evenly, recognizing the condescension. Of course, very admirable. Caroline's smile didn't reach her eyes. Though I imagine the salary is quite different from what you're used to, Julian. Caroline, Julian's voice held warning. I'm just saying, there's a significant lifestyle gap. Sophia, have you ever been to Aspen, the Hamptons? Our family has houses in both. I'd hate for you to feel uncomfortable. I've never been to either, Sophia said calmly. But I've also represented clients who walked through the desert for 3 weeks with nothing but the clothes on their backs. I think I can handle uncomfortable. Julian's brother Marcus, 31, working in private equity, was more subtle, but no more welcoming. So, how did you two actually meet? He asked. The story seems to change, depending on who's telling it. I kissed him at a charity gala to avoid my ex, Sophia said bluntly. It's not a complicated story. Right. The ex-fiancé. Corporate finance, wasn't he? Interesting that you've traded up to real estate development. Marcus, Julian said sharply. Enough. After his siblings left, Julian found Sophia on his balcony, looking at the Manhattan skyline. I'm sorry, he said. They were completely inappropriate. They think I'm a gold digger. They think everyone is a gold digger. It's not about you, isn't it? Sophia turned to face him. Julian, your sister has a point. We come from different worlds. I grew up in Queens in a rent-controlled apartment. You summer in the Hamptons and winter in Aspen. That's not judgment. It's just fact. So what? Money doesn't matter if we care about each other. Money always matters. It shapes how we see the world, what we value, what we think is normal. She paused. Do you know what I make in a year? $180,000. Which sounds like a lot until you realize that's probably what you spend on suits. I don't care what you make, but your family does. Your friends do. Everyone in your world does. Sophia's voice was gentle but firm. And eventually, that's going to wear on us. On me. Then we don't spend time with them. We build our own life. Julian, you can't cut off your family because they're snobs about your girlfriend. Watch me. And he meant it. Over the next months, Julian saw less of Caroline and Marcus. Declined invitations to family events when they made clear Sophia wasn't welcome. Chose Sophia's world over his own. Sunday dinners in Queens over charity galas, small restaurants in Brooklyn over Michelin-starred Manhattan establishments. His siblings noticed. "You're making a mistake," Caroline told him in June, cornering him after a board meeting. "This woman has you completely turned around. You're neglecting your responsibilities. I'm doing my job perfectly well. You missed the Met Gala. You never miss the Met Gala. I had plans with Sophia. Exactly my point. You're choosing her over your obligations, over your position, over us." Caroline's expression was genuinely concerned. "Julian, I know you think you're in love, but this is moving too fast. You barely know her. I know her better than I've known anyone. You knew Christina for over a year. And I was bored the entire time. Sophia is different. Sophia is using you enough." Julian's voice was cold. "I don't tell you how to live your life. Don't tell me how to live mine." But Caroline's words stuck with him. Was he neglecting his responsibilities? He was still working 60-hour weeks, closing deals, overseeing developments. But he was also leaving the office at 7 instead of 10 to have dinner with Sophia. Spending weekends in Queens instead of networking in the Hamptons. Was that neglect, or was that finally having a life? He didn't have an answer. In July, everything almost fell apart. Sophia was offered a position in Washington, D.C., Deputy Director of the Capital Area Immigrants' Rights Coalition. Prestigious, important work, significant pay increase. "It's an incredible opportunity," she told Julian over dinner at their favorite Italian place. "The kind of position people spend their entire careers hoping for. I'd be helping shape policy, training attorneys, working on precedent-setting cases." "That's amazing," Julian said, his heart sinking. "Congratulations." "There's one problem. D.C. is 4 hours away." "Yeah." Sophia set down her fork. "I told them I needed time to think about it. Because, Julian, I don't know if I can do long distance. And I don't know if I can ask you to leave New York when your entire life is here. What do you want to do?" "I don't know. 6 months ago, the answer would have been easy. Take the job, advance my career. But now there's you and us, and I don't want to lose this. So don't take it." "Julian, I'm serious. Don't take it. Stay in New York. We'll figure out your career here." Sophia's expression shifted, something between hurt and anger. "You want me to turn down my dream job for a relationship that's 5 months old? I want you to stay with me. And give up this opportunity? Prove your sister right that I'm just here for the lifestyle? This has nothing to do with Caroline. It has everything to do with her. Don't you see? If I turn this down, everyone will say it's because the billionaire boyfriend asked me to, that I chose money over career, over helping people. So take it then." Julian heard the bitterness in his own voice. "Go to D.C. We'll do long distance. You know that won't work. You're busy, I'm busy. We'll see each other maybe once a month. That's not a relationship." "So, what are you saying?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "I'm saying I don't know what to do. I'm saying this job could change hundreds of lives, thousands of lives. And I'm saying I'm in love with you and I don't want to lose you. And I'm saying I can't believe I have to choose." The words hung between them. "I'm in love with you." Neither had said it before. "I'm in love with you too," Julian said quietly. "Which is why I can't ask you to stay if it means giving up something this important. But you want me to stay. Of course I want you to stay. But Sophia, You were right earlier. We come from different worlds. In my world, when there's a problem, you throw money at it until it's solved. But this isn't that. This is your career, your calling, your purpose, and I can't solve that with money. So what do we do? I don't know. They left the restaurant without resolving anything. Julian went back to his penthouse. Sophia went to Queens. They didn't talk for 3 days. On day 4, Julian made a decision. He showed up at Sophia's apartment at 7 a.m. on a Thursday, knowing she had an asylum hearing at 9. "I'm coming with you," he said, when she opened the door, clearly surprised to see him. "What?" "Your hearing. I'm coming with you. I want to see you work." "Julian, it's fine. You don't have to." "I want to. Please." So Sophia let him come to the immigration court in Federal Plaza, let him sit in the back of the courtroom while she argued for a Syrian family's asylum case. Julian watched her work for 2 hours, saw her passion, her brilliance, her absolute commitment to EU, her clients. Saw the way she cried when the judge granted asylum, the way the mother hugged her sobbing gratitude, the way Sophia's entire face transformed with joy. This was who she was. This was her calling. After, in the hallway outside the courtroom, Julian pulled her aside. "Take the DC job," he said. "What?" "Take it. It's too important to pass up. You'll help thousands of people. Shape policy. Train the next generation of immigration lawyers. It's what you're meant to do." "But what about us?" "I'll move to DC with you." Sophia stared at him. "You'll... what?" "I'll move to DC. Ashford Development has projects there. I can open an office, oversee them personally, work remotely when needed. It's not ideal, but it's doable." He took her hands. "Sophia, I watched you in there today and I understood something. Your work isn't just important to you. It's essential. It's who you are. And I don't want to be the person who stands between you and who you're meant to be. Julian, you can't uproot your entire life for me." "Why not? You were considering turning down your dream job for me. At least let me consider moving for you. Your family will lose their minds. My family doesn't get a vote." He pulled her closer. "I spent 12 years building a company my father would be proud of. And you know what? I think he'd be prouder if I chose love over business for once in my life. If I chose partnership over profit. If I chose you." Sophia was crying now. "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." "Take the job. I'll figure out the rest." She kissed him then, right there in the Federal Plaza hallway with lawyers and clients and court staff walking by. "I love you," she said against his lips. "I love you so much." "I love you too. Now go call them and accept before they offer it to someone else." The move to DC happened in October. Sophia started her new position in September, commuting from New York for the first month. Julian spent that month wrapping up projects, delegating responsibilities, and opening Ashford Development's first DC office. Caroline was predictably furious. "You're abandoning the company for a woman you've known less than a year." "I'm expanding the company to a new market while also prioritizing my relationship. That's called growth, Caroline. Try it sometime." Marcus was more understanding. "Look, I think you're crazy, but I also think you've been miserable for years. If Sophia makes you happy, go be happy. We'll manage. Here." They found an apartment in Georgetown, smaller than Julian's penthouse, but bigger than Sophia's studio, a compromise between their worlds. Sophia insisted on paying half the rent, despite Julian making 50 times her salary. "It's about principle," she said firmly. "We're partners, equal partners. I'm not your dependent. The rent is $8,000 a month. That's more than half your salary. Then we'll find somewhere cheaper." They compromised on Sophia paying $2,000 and Julian covering the rest, plus she handled groceries and utilities. It wasn't mathematically equal, but it felt balanced. Sophia thrived in her new role. Within 3 months, she'd reorganized the legal training program, established relationships with 20 new pro bono law firms, and personally handled 3 cases that set new precedents for asylum law. Julian opened the D.C. office, hired a local team, and discovered he actually enjoyed the work more when it had purpose. He started focusing on affordable housing, developments, using his money to build quality housing for people who needed it. "You're turning into a bleeding heart," Caroline said on a call. "I'm turning into someone who gives a damn. There's a difference." By February 2025, 1 year after that first kiss, Julian was ready. He planned it for Valentine's Day because he was sentimental like that. Made a reservation at the same Italian restaurant where they'd had their first date, the West Village location, flying them back to New York for the weekend. After dessert, he got down on one knee in front of the same table where a year ago he'd told Sophia he wanted to know every version of her. "Sophia Martinez," he said, pulling out a ring he'd had custom designed, simple, elegant, with a single diamond because she'd once mentioned hating ostentatious jewelry. "A year ago you kissed me to avoid your ex, and I kissed you back because I couldn't help myself. And every day since then, I've been kissing you back, metaphorically and literally. Because you're brilliant, passionate, funny, stubborn, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. You make me want to be better, do better, build things that matter instead of just building things. I love you. I want to spend my life loving you. Will you marry me?" Sophia was crying, laughing, nodding all at once. "Yes, yes, of course, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her to applause from the entire restaurant. "I can't believe you proposed on Valentine's Day," Sophia said. Later, in the car back to the hotel. "The most cliché day of the year. I'm a romantic. You knew this about me." "I did. I love that about you." She looked at her ring, then at him. "I love everything about you, even the billionaire parts." "Even those?" "Especially those. Because you use your money to build affordable housing and support immigration nonprofits and fly your fiancé to New York for elaborate proposals. That's the kind of billionaire I can marry." They married in June 2025, small, ceremony at a venue in Queens, mixing both their worlds. Rosa cried through the entire ceremony. Julian's siblings showed up. Caroline had slowly warmed to Sophia after seeing how happy Julian was. Marcus had liked her from the start. The reception was loud, joyful chaos. Sophia's family dancing salsa, Julian's business partners trying to keep up, everyone eating too much and laughing too hard. "This is perfect," Sophia said, slow dancing with Julian while their families mingled. "Absolutely. Perfect." "Yeah? Yeah. Our worlds together. That's all I wanted." "Well, you're getting it. Our worlds, our work, our life. Together. I love you, Mr. Ashford." "I love you too, Mrs. Ashford Martinez." Sophia had kept both names, because of course she had. 5 years later, February 2030. Julian walked into their Georgetown townhouse. They'd upgraded after 2 years, carrying their 3-year-old daughter Emma, who was explaining very seriously about her day at preschool. And then, "Lucas said trucks were better than trains, but Daddy, he's wrong. Trains are obviously better because they're bigger and they go on tracks." "Obviously," Julian agreed, setting Emma down so she could run to greet Sophia, who was just coming in from work. "Mama!" Emma launched herself at Sophia, who caught her despite holding a briefcase and coffee. "Hey baby, how was school?" "We learned about butterflies. Did you know they start as caterpillars?" "I did know that. Isn't it cool?" Julian watched, his wife and daughter with the same feeling of contentment he got every evening. This life they'd built, work they both loved, a daughter they adored, a partnership that actually worked. "How was your day?" he asked Sophia after Emma ran off to play. "Long. Good, but long. We got approval for the new refugee resettlement program. It's going to help hundreds of families." She kicked off her heels with a grateful sigh. How was yours? Broke ground on the new affordable housing project in Anacostia. Should be ready in 18 months. 200 units, all below market rate. Look at us, still trying to save the world. One building and one asylum case at a time. Julian pulled her close, kissed her forehead. Did I mention I love you? Not in the last 8 hours, you're slacking. I love you. I love our life. I love that our daughter is currently arguing with herself about the superiority of trains. Sophia laughed. She gets that from you, the stubbornness. She gets the passion from you. True. They stood there in their entryway, holding each other while their daughter played and the evening settled around them. You know what I was thinking about today, Sophia said. What? Derek and Madison. Wondering if they ever think about that night at the gala when I kissed a stranger and changed my entire life. Do you ever regret it? The kiss that started all this? Never. Best impulsive decision I ever made. She looked up at him. Though technically you made the decision too. You could have pushed me away, been angry, had me escorted out. Instead, you kissed me back. Best decision I ever made. Definitely worth the temporary assault. It wasn't assault. It was aggressive romantic networking. Is that what we're calling it? It's what I'm calling it in the memoir I'm writing. How I assault-kissed my way to true love. Julian laughed, pulling her closer. I'd read that book. Of course you would. You're in it. Best character in it, I hope. Obviously. The billionaire with the heart of gold who moved cities for love and learned that money can't buy happiness, but it can buy a really nice ring. And a really nice house. And excellent preschools for our daughter. Money helps. But you're what makes me happy. Sophia kissed him. Soft, sweet. Nothing like that first desperate kiss at the gala, but everything like the thousands of kisses since. Partnership kisses, love kisses, we built this life together kisses. I love you, she said. Thank you for kissing me back that night. Thank you for being brave enough to kiss me first. And in the next room, Emma started singing a song about trains at full volume, shattering the romantic moment and reminding them that their perfect life was also perfectly chaotic. But they wouldn't have it any other way. If this story touched your heart, remember, sometimes the best relationships start with the worst decisions made for the right reasons. That loving someone means supporting their dreams, even when it costs you something. That money and privilege matter, but what you do with them matters more. That families don't always accept your choices, but the right partner makes those choices worth defending. That moving cities, changing plans, and building a new life together is scary and hard and absolutely worth it. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to be impulsive sometimes, that panicked decisions can lead to perfect outcomes, that the person you kiss to avoid your past might become your future, and that true partners support each other's callings even when it's inconvenient. Subscribe if you believe in immigration lawyers who fight for families, in billionaires who learn that buildings mean nothing without love, in split-second decisions that change everything, in ex-fiancés who realize too late what they lost, and in 3-year-olds who argue passionately about trains. Because sometimes all it takes is 8 seconds of kissing a stranger. One man willing to see past the panic to the brilliant woman underneath. One lawyer brave enough to choose love without giving up her calling. And 5 years of building a life that honors both their worlds.